Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Talk Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and today we're doing actually the crude oil prices, which actually took a dive this morning for about 1%. One thing that I know about the market, you only have to look at the oil price, and then you can spot a boom or a bust. And definitely when you look at the oil prices going down this morning, due to actually Saudi Aramco that cut actually the oil prices for the Asian market by $1, and that actually spurred up a demand crisis in the oil region, and that's why they actually cut actually the oil prices with $1. Now, as I said, once you want to sniff out a boom and bust actually in the industry or in the market, then you just have to look at crude oil prices.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Bull Market Talk Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. There's a link below. Click on the link, register a free markets.com account, fund it with $250 and get my free class. And also don't forget to leave your comments and also your likes. Now, back to the oil price. Oil prices actually went down by 1% this morning. It slightly recovered, but there is actually a bit of a demand question that goes on. One was the bad NFP numbers that came out actually on Friday. Now, that also pushed down actually the oil prices, which is a bit of a surprise to me, because normally when the oil prices are actually going down, when the NFP number is actually coming out bad, then you would think, okay, the Federal Reserve will actually keep on stimulating economy and commodity prices would go up. I see there's a question that actually going down here by someone, a delegate. After oil breakdown, can you also give your views of the gold and the NASDAQ fundamentals based on the news we had last week? Okay, I will actually do that. Thanks a lot for the question. One thing that I actually was looking at last week, Friday, when actually the oil prices went down, it was a bit of a concern, because normally when NFP number is bad, you would have commodities that go up, especially your gold. Gold did go up, but oil prices did not go up. And if I share my screen with you now, that was a bit for me a two-mind story. If you look at the oil prices specifically here, it went down. This is on a one-day chart, went down and it slipped actually further, but luckily there is actually a 50-day EMA that actually protected there. But the main thing is with this morning that came in, where the Saudis were actually cutting the oil prices to the Asian market, that is a demand concern. Also, the other problem is a slow growth in the United States when it gets to the economic growth, because the job numbers were extremely disappointing last week. And I don't know, that might actually push back the Federal Reserve for the tapering question. But the main thing is with the oil price, that can also damper the oil price. Now, this is also the story this morning. Oil falls $1 after deep Saudi price cuts per demand concern. That is actually in Asia where the demand concern is, and also in the United States. So that actually put a bit of pressure on the oil price. On the flip side of oil, then you're looking at this now again. U.S. oil rigs see a sharpness in one week decline in over a year. Now, the oil rigs in the United States actually had a huge dip last week. If you can look at this chart specifically, this is the Baker Hughes crude oil rigs. You can see it actually had a huge dip down, and there is actually a demand for oil, but the amount of rigs actually went down. That means that the United States oil production is low, so which means they need to import more oil, and that might actually push up the demand for oil. On the other side again, you have a very confused story where the Saudis actually cut the oil price with $1. So which way the oil price is going? And that is actually the big question. What will be the story of oil actually? Because on one side you have a demand that goes up, on the other side you have the Saudis that cut the oil price. So do you trade oil? With this news, I would personally say sit on the fence when it comes to the oil price, because one, there is also another problem in the United States where actually the refineries need electricity, obviously, to refine the oil. And there is actually in the south, due to Hurricane Ida, there is a problem there with the power outages, and the guys can't actually refine the oil to pump it to get it into the system. So that could actually bring a bit of a demand for me when it gets to the oil price. Also, if you look at the chart of oil, if I just go back there, as I said, the 50-day EMA is actually in a good support there for the crude oil prices. The problem is, will it last? That is actually the big question. Will it last? Now, just to get back to Delegate's question here, I'm just going to go back to it. After oil breakdown, can you also give your views of the gold and the NASDAQ fundamental based on the news we had last week? Now, on gold is actually a bit, as I could see, actually gold is actually retracing slightly. For me personally, gold looks in good shape to go up. I would say for now, gold will definitely retrace. Also, very importantly, it's a low liquidity day. Also, there's holiday in the United States, so I'm actually out of the market. Gold will definitely retrace today. I can say today and tomorrow. It will maybe go back to where it was. Let's go back to gold. Gold is on 1823 now. I think personally gold will maybe go back to 1813, 1814. And then actually that is the potential where gold can go further up. Personally, I'm bullish with gold. I think what is going on with in the United States, there's stagflation, where inflation will be sticky, and there's bad job numbers in the United States. Next week, the CPI number will come out of the United States, and that is where you will see inflation increase. But for now, I would say gold will retrace a bit, and then it will go back up. That was very bad numbers of NFP last week, and I personally think that gold will still go further. I think gold can go up to about, as things stands, it can go up to about 1880 and then go further on to actually to 1900 or even further. I'm literally myself bullish for the gold. On the NASDAQ, this one is actually for me also a bit of a headache. The NASDAQ goes very much with actually with the bonds, especially your 10-year yield of the United States. Very close link there. If I look at tech, for me, tech looked bullish. It looked absolutely bullish, unless you have a sharp increase in inflation and then the bond market start to rattle. But as things stand, NASDAQ look bullish for me for now. I don't see any problem with the NASDAQ for this week. I don't see anything. I think NASDAQ will go further up. Also, when it gets to gold, I think gold will just actually retrace a bit and then it go further up. For me, for the NASDAQ, the bond market did actually went up last Friday, but it did not go up rapidly. The bond yields did go up slightly, but not rapidly. If it reach actually on the 10-year, if the yield reach 1.4, then I would say it's a bit of a concern. But for now, I say the NASDAQ still for me looks like it can still continue still on, because the bond yields is actually quite okay. I hope I actually answered your question, but definitely gold for me look like it will retrace, and then it will go further up to about 1880, and then it has the potential to go up. I personally think the gold is a bit disappointing. Gold for me is supposed to be long. It's supposed to go up a long time ago, last week already. I don't know why it takes so long, because there's a flood of money that goes into the United States. It's actually, there's too much money in the United States. And for me, gold is supposed to go up a long time ago. And I don't know why it takes so long. Tomorrow, very importantly, please, you can drop more questions if you want to. I'm still here and I will answer them. Very importantly, tomorrow morning, the Reserve Bank of Australia will actually make a rate decision will be very confusing tomorrow. I would say the best thing is just not to trade there. Rather wait for the news to come out, read that statement, and then make your trade, because they are not sure must they taper, because the new variant is a bit of a problem in Australia. So they are actually in two minds, because they are about to taper, and I don't know, will they continue? On the other one, the Bank of Canada will also release its statement, and then the ECB this week as well will release also their monetary statement and make a decision on the interest rates. That is also very important there, and I think the ECB will start to taper, and that might shoot up actually the euro if they start to taper, because the inflation was about at 3%, which is actually a very high number for the euro. Please don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube page. And please also, there's a link below. If you need free classes, click on the link, fund your account with $250, and then I will give you classes absolutely free. That is it from my side. Thanks a lot, Delegate, for the question. And if you guys have more questions, please don't be afraid to drop your questions, and I will answer them for you. That's it from my side. See you guys tomorrow at maybe tonight at 8 o'clock for Action for the Late.